Hey guys, welcome to the Retro Media Talk podcast. Today we're going back again to the 70s, and we're going to hit 1976, a film that used to freak me out kind of as a kid. I'm here with Steve Lego, and Steve, was this your first time watching this film?
No, I've actually seen it quite a few times, actually, but it's been like a year or two since I've seen it.
Cool. Well, the film is called Logan's Run, and it came out in 1976. And let me just give you a quick little synopsis. Basically, it's a place in the section of the United States which is right by Washington, D.C. that's sealed off in a dome city. They artificially create light and night and all that stuff, but nobody's seen the sun. It's filled with people, and basically you're living to just live out pleasures. There's no family, there's no money, and then once you hit 30, they kill you. But there's a lot more to it, a lot of different parallels, a lot of things that relate to what's going on today. That's what I want to touch on. Yeah, Logan's Run. I watched it on Blu-ray, and you watched it on what, HBO Max?
Yep.
That's cool. So, has it been a while since you've seen the film?
A couple of years. Probably about, 2-3 years.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, it's been a while for me, man. I mean, I didn't remember a lot of stuff. I had a better experience watching it this time than I can remember. Maybe it's because a lot of the stuff that's happening today and a lot of the stuff that they're trying to create, before it was like science fiction, more science fiction. Now It's like more of a reality that they're trying to get us to. And they're trying to build these dome cities. I don't know if you've caught up on a lot of that, but they have proposed building these dome cities, I don't know, around the world or whatever. They're actually proposing people live in these dome cities. So it's reality again, just like when we were going over Westworld, how robots, are kind of a deal now. Do you know much about that director, Michael Anderson?
No, actually, I don't know anything about him at all.
Well, one thing I thought, when I didn't know who directed it until I looked it up, and I was like, Michael Anderson. Then I looked him up. He was born in 1920, died in 2018 at 98. He almost made it to 100.
Yeah,
but he was the first one that made 1984 in 1956. So this guy is well aware of what is going on. And for those that don't know what 1984 is, that's the George Orwell book that predicts a kind of a future that's going on right now. Like these elites basically are trying to create a Brave New World or a 1984, kind of like a Logan's Run, all mixed in. And another movie, man, he made that, I don't know if you've seen it, but Orca with Bo Derek. Bo Derek was in this one. You remember Orca?
I saw it like when it came out, like a year or two after maybe, but I've never seen it since, so I don't remember too much about it. I know it's about a killer whale, right?
Yeah, and it's about them killing this whale, and the whale was pregnant, the babies came out, and it was pretty brutal. So the whale is after the hunters, the fishermen, because it killed his the babies, the whale babies. It's pretty brutal film. I loved it. And that came out like, I think 79. Then he did Millennium. I don't know if you've seen that. It was 1999. Did a bunch of them.
Yeah, Millennium was pretty good.
Yeah.
For a lower budget movie.
Yeah. And he was an Oscar nominee for Around the World in 80 Days. That was in 1956 too. With 1984. It came out in 1956. Golden Globe nominee. Also for Around the World in 80 Days. And they did a horror flick. I vaguely remember called Dominique in 1979. And he did some other ones. But Logan's Run, It was a Hugo nominee, Best Dramatic Presentation. One of the most expensive movies for that time.
Hard to believe, ain't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was MGM's most expensive for like 10 years, or I think they said. It had a lot of technology that was never used in films. I don't know, but we'll go over that. But let me so give me your take on what you thought of the film.
Oh, I thought it was good. I love sci-fi movies from the 70s. First of all, they have a certain look about them. The sets are minimalist. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Star Trek set design. It's really simple and stuff. But if it's a good story, you don't really have to have like the super, detailed set. The story does it for you. You don't need big backgrounds like today. Everything's got to be CG. It's all got to be looking super, super fancy. And I think that detracts a lot of times from a story. But I love this movie. I think it holds up. It's 76. It's pre Star Wars. You know what I mean? So it's like it's like the end of the era of old school sci-fi movies. You look at all the modeling they did at the beginning, the opening scene, that's all models,
yeah.
The city, the trains, the little people and all that kind of stuff. And even though it's a model, it still looks really cool, I think.
Oh, I did too.
But no, I loved it. I loved the way it was, how the city was portrayed, and just really simple, solid colors and people's clothing, and everything's just like really minimalist, but it's cool. I liked it. It had a cool soundtrack too, and when you could hear it, I think it was Jerry Goldsmith, wasn't it?
Yep, Jerry Goldsmith. Yep, really good soundtrack.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. It's a classic. You know what I mean?
And the colors that they wear, the outfits, they represent like their ages, kind of. They're.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool because we can say, tell everybody basically you got a life clock embedded in your left hand, kind of like a Mark of the Beast type thing, but it's a crystal instead, and it blinks. Well, it's a solid color. It's like, and the thing is when you're born, it's clear, or it's white, not clear. It's white until 8 years old, and then 9 to 15, it's yellow. 16 to 23, it's green, and then 24 to 30, it's red. And you can see the outfits they're wearing are like yellow, green, red, and
the carousel. What was the point of them wearing those masks and the robes and all that?
I don't know. It's a symbolism, I guess, of they call it renewal, renewed, and the way I can figure it out is when they kill them at 30, they think they're being reincarnated. Didn't you get that from that?
Right.
Yeah. Because they alluded to that because Logan said later to Francis, the other Sandman, that have you ever seen anybody renewed? And then he was thinking, he said, yeah, but he didn't know anybody renewed. So basically, I guess that means reincarnated.
Right. Well, then they did say, I think at one point, Francis said that, that's how it works, a person's renewed and another a baby is born or something to that effect.
10 days before you're renewed or killed, the crystal will begin to blink red or black and red. And that's when, and it's crazy. It reminds you of like a gladiator type scenario where you're in an arena and you're cheering on the death of these people. And they think, hey, man, they're being renewed. This is a good thing. But actually, they're being exterminated because they live in this dome city, and it's all about population control and all about living out your pleasure. These people, the life in the future is nothing. There's no. This is what I want to get to, because we got these elites that want to destroy the family. So the whole movie is pretty prophetic, I guess. But 1984. Since this guy did 1984, he knew all about the writings of George A. Orwell or whatever. So, but yeah, the parallels of today, population control, right? So that's one thing. Dome city, they want to build these dome cities. If you Google dome cities, they're being, I think they might be being built now in some parts of the world. I don't know. But I know they were starting. No one eats meat. They all eat vegetables. They don't eat bugs in this. But
right.
But if they thought about it, they probably would have threw that in there. But nobody eats meat. It's all they're all vegetarians. So that's kind of reminiscent to today. They don't want us eating meat unless it's a special occasion and we're granted a piece of meat. That's the future, and they want us all eating bugs and probably sewage.
Right.
It's basically a society built on, like I said, no family, so everybody just kind of like has sex with whoever, and the mothers that they have there are not mothers. They're just people that are inseminated or seed mothers, I guess. They have the babies, but there's no mother, father, or relatives. And then there's drugs in the form of pills or a vapor. So this vapor that it just gets them high or whatever, and it's kind of a crazy deal. But it's like I said, more reality. There's so many parallels of today, and then the computer runs everything with the I compare it to like an Alexa or a Siri voice, something like that.
Yeah.
And the computer tells the Sandman. That's what was kind of cool, man. I kind of miss that, because when I remembered Logan's Run, I thought Logan escaped on his own accord, but I didn't realize that the computer told Logan that he was going to have to not tell his other co-workers, Sandman or whatever, that he was going on this undercover expedition to kill him, or to find the sanctuary or whatever, and destroy it. Did you catch that before? Well, you probably have, because you saw it a couple years ago. I mean, that's what they wanted him to do. But basically, when they turned his clock ahead, he had no choice. He had no choice. Yeah, they were going to kill him anyway.
So, and then I think once I think once they said, "Well, I'm going to get my time back," right, and they wouldn't answer him.
Wouldn't answer.
I think they want you to believe that he's maybe on a mission, or maybe he's trying to escape. You don't really know, but I think he had no intentions of ever coming back.
I don't think so either. Once they didn't give him the answer, he was like, "Well, screw it, I'm going out there." And then once they saw the sun for the first time and everything, they were like,
"Yeah." I mean, what was the point of it, though? You know what I mean? I don't understand really. I mean, it's a cool story, but what was the point? Because when they get outside of the dome, there's no other people. There's nobody like working it. There's like the rich people aren't living in mansions outside of the dome. There's like nothing there, So what is the point of keeping people enslaved in those domes when they're not using the rest of the earth for themselves?
Well, they're probably somewhere else. Who knows? That's a question. Good question. Where are the elites? Well, yeah, they're not in that area. We never see them. But that dome just keeps the population to a minimum.
I mean, when you think about it, what was the point of keeping those those people alive in the Dome City? What was the point? They weren't producing anything for them. So I mean, I don't really get, when you start looking at the story itself, I'm like, I don't really get why they even bothered allowing them to continue to exist.
Oh yeah, they could have just killed them off. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do they need them for?
I don't know. That's a good question. But yeah. The dumbest part of it is them going back thinking that if I bring back this, when they find the old guy and they've never seen anybody grow old, and they think we got to tell people that that you can grow old, and they just assume that everything was going to be hunky dory. They bring this guy and and they were going to let him live. But yeah, it's I personally like how they ended it. That I was kind of worried because I haven't seen it so long. I'm like, I hope it's not a bad ending or a abrupt ending. So I kind of like how they all got out of the dome.
It's the typical 70s movie ending. 60s, 70s, the old-fashioned type of ending.
Yeah. And I guess somewhere there was a extra. I was reading this, and he held up a Vulcan sign.
Yeah, I did read that somewhere. Yeah,
that's hilarious. The carousel is what always used to freak me out because they would spin, they cheer, and then they'd fly up into the air there, and then get shot. And what I didn't know is, how did they do that back then? And it was all wired. Did you read that?
Well, yeah, it was wired, but I mean, obviously too, it was like, I mean, they weren't there. That was like some kind of overlay. You know what I mean?
When I watched the making of it, because I got the Blu-ray, it was actually wires that they painted black, and they used some photography. I don't know how they did it, but he said it was unbelievable how they did it. You cannot see a wire, and I looked, and the way they shot that was unbelievable. And he said it was so difficult because they had the wires kept tangling up or something, so they had to somehow figure out how to get each person fastened correctly or locked in somehow so it wouldn't tangle up, because they had some issues. But one thing I didn't understand was when they supposedly get shot and killed, those are actually explosives on the stuntmen. And so maybe that's something with the mask, because those are all stuntmen, and they actually are wearing explosive devices on their backs or whatever. Backs or fronts, I don't know, whatever. Because
to me, it looked like the explosions were like put in like post.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
And when they were floating around, I mean, that was like that was superimposed onto the screen too. Do you know what I mean? They weren't actually doing it in front of those people in that arena.
Well, I mean, the director says, okay, when they fly up, the director said he set off each one of those explosions manually. So when they shot one guy, right, or triggered the explosion, they would have to lower everyone down from the wire and somehow mark where they were previously, lower everyone down, remove him, take him back up, and they had to be in the perfect spot, same spot. And that way, when the explosion went off and they cut that part, it would look like he disappeared or whatever. And I thought that was crazy. I was like, man, couldn't there be an easier way to do that? But I don't know. Back then, that's how they did it.
I mean, for how shitty it looked, they just should have done it like old school and just like stopped the camera and pulled the people out and just restarted the film or something,
Yeah, so there's little things like that just get me going. I'm like, man, that's fascinating. I respect the movie even better when I hear all these little things of how they made it, and like the hologram. in the end, when it kind of reminds you of 1984, right? Where it says, where he tells Winston, what is 2 + 2? And he says 4, and he says, no, they keep saying it's 5. 2 + 2 = 5. And they're playing with this, they're breaking him down, making him say, no, 2 + 2 is whatever they want it to be, basically. And then in the end, that's kind of what the computer is doing to, the interrogation scene where it says, where is Sanctuary?
Logan 5. Did you find Sanctuary? Did you find Sanctuary?
And he says, Sanctuary doesn't exist or whatever.
We will begin
That's not the answer, or whatever the computer says. And it just keeps going. That's not the answer. Or do you remember? What was the exact words? I don't know.
I don't remember.
But I should have wrote that down. But that kind of reminded me of like him as Winston or something in 1984. That was kind of cool.
There is no sanctuary.
Unacceptable. The answer does not program. You were assigned.
Where was I going with that? Oh, the hologram on the TV. Where they were showing his 3-dimensional face talking.
Right.
That's never been done before. So that was a totally new thing. And that kicked off like all the other movies implementing the special effect. So that was kind of cool. Logan's Run actually kicked off that effect for other films. So, there's a lot of history in that. So Michael York, you know who he was, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, he was a big actor back then. He was in a lot of movies, Three Musketeers. What else was he?
Yeah.
Tons of stuff. But yeah, back in the 70s, yeah, he was a pretty hot commodity.
Yeah, he's still alive, dude. He's 80.
Yeah, I just saw something, within the past couple of years that he was in. I don't remember what it was now, but yeah, he's...
Couldn't believe it. We always go back to these films and we're like, oh yeah, half of them are dead. Even though I take a multivitamin, I also like to take superfoods. And the best superfood I found on the market that tastes just amazing is Brick House Nutrition Field of Greens. Real organic superfood. 1 scoop of Field of Greens gives you the full spectrum of colors with fruits, veggies, herbs, spices, and more. Helps with your overall well-being by aiding in antioxidation, lipid metabolism, and glucose metabolism. Since Field of Greens is made from real foods, it's technically not a supplement. This is just pure whole foods, guys, and you can get a discount right now by using coupon code HEALTHYLIFE. Just plug that coupon HEALTHYLIFE before checkout in the coupon section and get our exclusive discount. You have to try Field of Greens from brickhousenutrition.com. And then Jenny Agutter or Agutter,
yep.
I don't know, whatever. She's 70 now, and that was the girl, with Logan when they escaped. Well,
yep.
you know that, but the audience don't probably. But she's in she's in some BBC show called something Call the Midwife. I don't know. I can't.
Oh, my wife watches that.
Oh God, I can't stand BBC shows, but I don't know. I just don't like those shows. The only one I like is the Black Mirror. You ever seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I like that one. But
what about Doctor Who? It was a BBC show. You ever watched that?
No, I never watched it.
What about Sherlock? You ever watch Sherlock?
No, I never watched that either.
The original Office?
No, I saw scenes. That one might appeal to me because I do.
The original Office, dude, is 100 times more hilarious than
Yeah,
because Ricky Gervais is so you think Steve Carell, like, he makes you feel uncomfortable. Ricky Gervais makes you feel 1,000 times more uncomfortable because he's so just oblivious.
But stuff like Downtown Abbey or what was it called? Downton Abbey? Whatever.
Yeah, my wife watches all that stuff.
Yeah, I can't stand that stuff. But, that's just personal. I mean, that's just some of that English, those English shows just aren't my style. But no, I mean, it might be a good show. But you can say, you can ask her about this character. I forget, I didn't write her character down. But yeah, she's the girl in Logan's Run, so pretty interesting. So she's been in that show since 2012 to now, 2023. So she's been in there a long time.
There was there's another thing about her too, and I always got to throw in the $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
Connection.
Okay. Yes.
She was in 2 episodes of the $6 Million Man, the Deadly Replay parts 1 and 2, and also Farrah Fawcett Majors was in this movie.
Yes.
And she was married to Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man, and she was in 3 episodes of the $6 Million Man: The Golden Pharaoh, The Peeping Blonde, and The Rescue of Athena 1.
Oh man, I'm glad you picked that up, because I was just getting ready to get to Farrah Fawcett, but I'm glad you get the $6 Million Man connection in there, because that's a big one. I saw that one coming. I was like, Lego's gotta put that one together. I didn't know about Jenny though. That's a good one. So
well, I saw her face and I was like, because I'd just been watching the Blu-ray set.
Yeah,
and so it refreshed my memory, and I was like, I think she was in the $6 Million Man. So I had to look, and sure enough, yeah,
that is hilarious. Oh man! Now the sad thing is though, the other Sandman, Richard Jordan, who played Francis, he died in '93 of brain cancer at 56. So that's the only downer. His last film was that I could find was The Hunt for Red October. He was in that one. So,
he had one of those faces where I was like, oh yeah, that guy's been in stuff, but I could never place him and what he was in, But another big star was that Peter Ustinov.
Yeah,
the old man. I mean, he was in tons of Disney movies, and a little bit before my time, but I know he was a pretty big actor.
I read that he ad-libbed most of his parts. I don't know if that's true.
I believe it.
I was like, wow.
Because, he was just like a babbling old man. He wasn't really too coherent, and just, it's highly possible.
And they had a lot of those cats. I think all those cats were living on the set or something. They were saying.
And all those cats are dead as well.
Yeah, true. Oh man, but yeah, I was surprised at a lot of what I was reading, like the sets. They had a few different places where they filmed a lot of these sets. I don't know.
Well, I know at the end of the movie they thanked like the Dallas Film Commission or something, so it was filmed in Texas or.
Yeah, they had a Dallas Market Center. It was a 4.8 million square foot complex.
It looked like a mall to me.
Yeah. Consisting of 6 ultra-modern structures erected in 135 acres, which would become the largest single wholesale merchandise mart in the world. Logan's Run utilized futuristic backgrounds of the West Atrium, a 5-story terraced space featuring an entire wall of mirrored plexiglass and variety of acoustic materials. I don't know. It was 150 feet wide, 60 feet high, where 4,500 people can be accommodated at a show or exhibit. I was just reading that, but anyway, it's apparently one of the shots they used that building. And then the world headquarters for Zales Jewelry Company in Dallas served as the exterior of Sandman headquarters. And let's see here. There's a gymnasium. Became somewhere in Fort Worth. Health Center became the Sandman's Gymnasium. So there's a few different things. And then, of course, the carousel and everything, that was on a set.
Right.
The largest sound stage in the world, they say. On stage 15. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff, I don't know. I thought maybe it was all filmed in one location, and it's kind of interesting. Yeah, Farrah Fawcett, of course, she died in 2009 at 62. We all know that. This movie was rated PG. There was a lot of boobs in this movie.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like that semi. Remember, they're trying to kind of get away, and they're getting pulled into that orgy type thing.
No.
And there's like this one scene, and I know it wasn't, but they're like this. They're showing all this orgy stuff going on, and then they show the scene where this chick looks like she has like a fleshlight. You know what a fleshlight is?
Yeah.
and it looks like she's trying to cram it in her mouth. Did you see that? You see that scene?
I think so, man. I saw so many weird things. I was
like, is that a big, huge dildo? What is going on here?
I was like, man, yeah, PG. I could have been seeing this. Now, I do remember that they used to play that on HBO.
Yeah.
But, PG movies, they were notorious back then for
boobs.
For having boobs in them, yeah. But, yeah, this one had quite a few sprinkled throughout it. and that scene, man, I did not remember how raunchy that scene looked. And I'm surprised because I usually remember those things.
Right.
Those scenes, especially when I, watching them younger. It would definitely get an R rating, though, today. Yeah, it's weird because the way movies were back then, they'd show the nudity, but they wouldn't have the swear words.
I don't think there was a curse word in this movie at all.
I don't either. It's crazy. What was some of the other parts that you thought were interesting as far as what's going on today, or did you pick up on anything like that?
No, I think he pretty much, covered all of that. But there's one thing I didn't like. Yeah. This is like 22. What it was like the 2230 or something. They said was the year, supposedly.
Oh man, what was the date?
It was 22 something.
23 something, maybe 2300 something.
Yeah, but it's like, the technology wasn't caught up. You know what I mean? Like if this movie was thought out today, right? I mean, there's no way you're getting out of that dome city because we got drones, we got cameras everywhere, we got robots, we got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so it was an unrealistic future when it came to that. You know what I mean?
Well,
just not
76.
They had surveillance with the gems in their hand or whatever, I guess, kind of thing. But
tracing,
no, you wouldn't have made it out of there today. And then it would, another thing, it's like futuristic, whatever. And those stupid guns they had that like shot like a little flare of flames out of it. And I'm like, well, how does that work?
They said they kept having problems with those, like not shooting correctly. And I thought, well, why didn't they just use fake lasers or something?
Yeah, I thought it was just dumb looking. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, they could have used. I mean, like Star Wars. I mean, they could have used the laser effect.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing that since the 50s. You know what I mean? You just put it in there, and it looked dumb.
Well, I guess what's weird is, I didn't understand. Like, okay, you got the crystal, but does the crystal? He was only tracked because he touched his gun. Remember when he touched his gun and it signaled to the other Sandman where he was?
Right.
But you would think that crystal would be a honing device too, though.
That's how they track the runners.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so they track the runner. So why couldn't they have tracked him with the crystal in his hand?
I guess because they just didn't generally track those guys.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. So I don't know. But what was the other? The only I did see a little mistake with the robot in the ice cavern there.
I heard you could see his teeth or something.
Yeah, I saw his. They had it going good for a while, but then you could tell that you could see his skin at one point. So, so you could see he was wearing the mask, you know.
Yeah.
But I did catch that. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, that was kind of like, oh man, they should have fixed that because that was pretty apparent.
I was kind of trying to look for it, but I wasn't. I was watching the rest of it today at work and small screen, so I couldn't really see very well.
Yeah, it's pretty noticeable if you keep your eyes on them. Like at one point, one scene. Hi guys, this is Steve here. Do you ever think about taking your nutrition to the next level? Have you ever wondered what the best iodine supplement is? How about Detoxidine? Certified organic nascent iodine. A life changer. How about a liquid turmeric with black pepper? Goes in your system, fights inflammation. This blend preserves the full spectrum of antioxidants naturally found in turmeric. Global Healing Organics also just came out with an organic mushroom blend and bioactive copper. All this can be discounted with our special coupon code Healthy Life. With a $50 minimum purchase, use Healthy Life for maximum discount with a $50 minimum purchase. GlobalHealingOrganics.com. It was based on a book, kind of like 1984, but in the book, they died at 21. And I remember we were talking about Logan's Run at one point, and I thought they died. I said something like they died at 30. I think I think you can't live past 30. And then I read somewhere about 21. I said, well, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. So it was one of our podcasts, and I think I cut that whole part out because I said they died at 30. And then I read somewhere it was 21. I was like, well, why would they have him die at 21? So I did cut that out of a previous podcast we did. I can't remember what we were talking about. It might have been the series when we were talking about the series on the 70s one. That might have been it. But I was like, well, 21 seems way too young. It just doesn't make sense. So I don't know in the book why they would keep everybody under 21.
Yeah.
And then it just, so 30, I think when they changed that from the book, I think that was a very smart thing. Because I think that's a good place to, end them. Not really. But, right. I mean, as opposed to 21, I mean, 30, yeah, okay.
So was that robot dude, Box, was he harvesting food for the unseen people in charge? Is that what was his point? Was that what
I think
he was
so.
doing?
I think so, or something. Because he had those people frozen there.
Yeah, and he said originally he was capturing plankton and fish and whatever, and that stopped coming, so he started harvesting the humans. So
supposedly they didn't eat meat in there as well.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that whoever's in charge of the world was using that guy or the robot to get food, because obviously the robot's not eating the food.
Right. So I don't know if they, I don't know, man. They obviously froze those people for a reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe the elites ran everything from computers. They didn't have to be around.
Now, I think in the TV series that I told you I bought the pilot, I think in the TV series, Gregory Harrison is Logan in the TV series.
Yeah.
And I think in the pilot, he meets the old guys that are in charge. They're old.
Oh.
They're old men.
Oh.
And they're like in this secret part of the Dome City.
Oh. Well, that's cool.
Because I was thinking, I was watching the movie and I was like, doesn't he run into these old men in charge of the city and it didn't happen? And I said, you know what, that was in the TV series.
Yeah.
So
I have got to rewatch that because, like I said, I haven't seen that since I was a kid. And I don't remember anything about the TV show. The TV show, lasted a whole one season, I think?
Yeah. Yeah, and I do remember that in the pilot, they used a lot of they used the carousel footage and stuff from the movie and stuff like that.
Did they use the same voice? Because I think she was uncredited.
I don't know, but they showed the same exact carousel scene though.
Okay. So apparently they're reworking, or they've been trying to get a remake done, and I think they're working on it right now. Did you read that?
I read something that they had been talking about it and just hadn't.
I think it's in production.
I'd be surprised, honestly, that they would allow them to make this movie nowadays, because it might notify people, hey.
Yeah. This is really our plan.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it almost kind of touches a little bit too close to home nowadays to make a movie.
Maybe kind
of like this.
Yeah, maybe it got shut down. Hi guys, this is Steve. Do you know your body needs 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and a powerful blend of essential fatty acids? 90 essential nutrients your body needs to stay healthy. In today's world, depleted soil, crop changes, and seasonal inconsistencies are yielding less nutrient-dense food. This is why the Healthy Body Start Pack was created. Longevity's products have been around for decades. If you want to check out the Healthy Body Start Pack, guys, go to naturalhealthagenda.com. naturalhealthagenda.com.
Did you understand the part where, remember when they were talking to him before the computer was talking to him before they said they wanted him to go out, and they said that there was 1,056 unaccounted runners.
Yeah.
So it's like, but they let all those guys believe that nobody had ever escaped.
Right.
I mean, and obviously they didn't escape because they were all frozen in ice, but they had basically made it out like the Sandman, the Sandmen.
Yeah.
They caught everybody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They stopped everyone.
Right.
And I guess they lied about that just to prevent people from, trying to run. But I don't understand why would they care if people escaped? I don't really get it.
I just assume they didn't want to start a new world outside that world and start using up their resources because they're such bastards. They just want to keep everybody in a dome and kill them off and just keep the population a certain number. And, if they got out, maybe they would realize, hey, we can grow food. We can start our own society and own whatever, but they didn't want that. That's the only thing I could come up with. They wouldn't.
Yeah, it makes sense in a way, but then it all goes back to what we said too. Then what was the point of keeping any of them alive?
I don't know. They must have got something from them. I don't know what, but
because if it was like, they were eating the people, well, those people were getting destroyed in the carousel. So maybe they needed people to escape so they could freeze them, right, for food.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Hey, you know what? One thing I didn't realize. Now, maybe you could refresh me on this, but I thought they found Sanctuary. Was that in the TV show? Because I'm I was confused on that too, or that part, because I thought I remembered them finding sanctuary. So I'm wondering if that's in the TV show.
Well, I haven't watched the whole series. Like I said, I just bought the pilot, and then I was going to, buy some more or watch them or whatever. But it's been that whole finding sanctuary thing has been like a storyline in so many different shows. You know what I mean? Like what was that one show with Luke Perry?
Oh, Jeremiah. I love that show. That was a great show.
They were looking for like a sanctuary too, remember?
Yeah, that was a great show. I loved it. And that was totally a dystopian type series. What lasted 2 seasons?
2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean this story's been a pretty common theme for entertainment. I mean, like I said, they did Jeremiah. They had another show on Netflix that was kind of similar. I can't remember what it was called now, but the chick from iCarly was in it, and basically, Jeremiah was nobody could be born again. Is that what it was?
Something like that. Yeah, it's been a long time since I watched it.
And then the show on Netflix was anybody over the age of 30 died from this virus or something.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a pretty common theme, of people dying or being kept, controlled, age-wise, and people wanting to escape and find, this Shangri-La type of a place,
Yeah, it's kind of like, why The Walking Dead is so popular, the TV show, because it's dystopian, obviously, but it's like people creating these societies and then looking, and you're always looking for what's out there and discovering new worlds or new societies or whatever. It's pretty interesting. And one thing I thought was interesting, speaking of Walking Dead, while I'm going there, is Michael Anderson one of his stepdaughters was Laurie Holden. And I don't know, did you watch The Walking Dead at all?
I did. I stopped watching probably about 4 or 5 seasons ago.
Oh, okay. His stepdaughter was Laurie Holden, who played Andrea. And if you watch the first 3 seasons of it, that was his stepdaughter. I thought that was kind of cool. I was because I remember that character. I was like, oh, something about these kind of shows are they kind of get, I always love the dystopian things, but now they're getting more creepy. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for listening to our talk on Logan's Run. We totally recommend you go check it out and see what we're talking about if you haven't seen it. And Steve saw it on HBO Max, so if you got HBO Max, just stream it from there. I don't think it's on any other platform right now. So you could you'd have to buy the DVD or Blu-ray. But I definitely recommend buying the Blu-ray if you're going to watch it on that format. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, at one point, I don't know if it still is, at one point somebody had uploaded it on YouTube. That was a few years back.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, so it might still be on there.
All right. Well, check that out. See what you think. And then, if they do end up remaking it like they said, hopefully they make it right and don't screw it up, because it is a good film. But anyway, yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Find us at retromediatalk.com. Just go there, find all the links there, and that'll take care of it. Or find us on whatever platform you're on. But retromediatalk.com, easiest place to find us.
Yep.
We will talk to you on the next one.
Adios.
Man.
You must not resist, Logan 5.